So last October, we found out that Francois Demachet over at Christian Dior as in-house perfumer was retiring, and that Francis Kurkdjian was taking on the role of in-house perfumer. So that was exciting news. I quickly did a video announcing this on the channel. And then also in that video, there was 20 of my favorite fragrances that were created by Francis Kurkdjian, not only for his brand Maison Francis Kurkdjian, but also for other brands that he's done perfumes for. So now we find out that he is working on, or his first projects there are to relaunch a couple of the fragrances that he created early on for Christian Dior. They are Eau Noire, which is this. I have a bottle here and a little bit left in there. It's this green juice. And then Cologne Blanche, which I got to smell, but I don't or never owned a bottle. And then the third fragrance, Bois d'Argent, which was created by Annick Menardo initially. So I find out about these three fragrances, what they smell like, and then also what to expect when these launch. I guess as smaller bottles in July, and then official launches in large bottles in September. So find out about these coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Francis Kurkdjian over at Christian Dior and the first project of fragrances that he's been working on. Those are Eau Noire, and then of course Cologne Blanche, and then Bois d'Argent. Three fragrances that were in a group of 4 fragrances. Initially were in Eau de Cologne, or Cologne Concentration. Later, I believe, all the fragrances went into the Dior Privé collection, or Collection Privé. And I'm not sure if Cologne Blanche went in there, but because there's already a Cologne there, it's the Cologne Royale. So perhaps Cologne Blanche got discontinued right away. But later they went in there as Eau de Parfum concentration fragrances. So this is the first series of fragrances we're going to expect from after Francis Kurkdjian took hold of that position over at Dior, the perfumer or creative director role. But these are fragrances that he did work on, at least 2 of them. And Bois d'Argent was a fragrance created by Annick Menardo initially, and then I think Francois Demachet had tweaked it for the Collection Privé or Privé collection. I'll let you know about these fragrances. Before I do, if this is your first time tuning into this channel and you haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So how many of you knew these fragrances, these 3 fragrances, when they were in Cologne Concentration? I've heard about these. I never really got to sample them as Cologne Concentration fragrances, and many of you on the former channel and my previous channel and then also now have mentioned that they used to be in this concentration and that they were much better fragrances. I'm curious to find out what's going to happen with them, what he's going to do with them. But let's go ahead and first talk about Eau Noire. So Eau Noire was in Dior Privé for a long time. When I first discovered the collection in 2013 here at Neiman Marcus, Eau Noire was part of the collection. To me, this is kind of a syrupy, sticky, maple syrupy. I'm getting Immortelle from here, but there's actually licorice and coffee-like qualities with loads of lavender with this one. So this came out in 2004, all 3 did, and this is going to get a facelift. This one will be modernized. Apparently the smell is a little too classic or too tired perhaps, so apparently out of the 3 fragrances, this is definitely going to get the facelift to be more updated for modern tastes. But the original fragrance in this bottle, which I'm assuming when I go back to France next month, I can still buy another bottle of this just to keep, because if they're going to update it to modern standards or modern noses, God knows what's going to happen to it, because the other thing they're going to do is the color is no longer going to be green. According to the visuals I saw online at the databases and in all the press materials that I saw online, all 3 bottles are going to be in this kind of a color, the juice at least, and this has been in green, but this features notes of licorice, lavender, vanilla, thyme, sage, Immortelle, cedar. A lot of people mention there's coffee. I guess there is a kind of a coffee-like vibe, but I think it's the kind of Immortelle note in here to give you this kind of like, well, I guess it's giving me like a caramelized experience, sugary, brown sugar, like when you burn sugar on the stove top, and takes on this kind of like a sweet sticky, burned kind of an experience, and I think maybe that's what kind of reminded people of coffee. Or there could be coffee in the notes as well, but it's a very, very aromatic fragrance currently, loads of aromatics, and very, very spicy as well. Licorice is definitely here. You can totally pick it up with lots of lavender, so it's got this like aromatic pungency in this particular fragrance. There's sweet touches in there, definitely. There's some vanillic touches, and then of course the thyme and the sage to amplify the aromatic herbal qualities of the lavender as well. Eventually it's a little woody. I do like this fragrance. It does have a kind of a mature quality to it. So let's see what Francis Kurkdjian does with this particular fragrance. Out of the three, this one, I guess the reports were that this is definitely going to get modernized. But do let me know if you're a fan of this particular fragrance. I know there are fans of it as a lavender fragrance, and you know, an aromatic experience with herbs. But there's probably haters of this particular fragrance as well. Maybe because it does smell a little tired. What are your thoughts about EAU NOIRE from Dior? Let me know, put a comment down. And what do you think about the modernization for this particular fragrance? Are you excited for that? Are you excited that this is coming back as a new fragrance? Let me know, put a comment down. I'm always excited to, you know, check out what people do, but that modernized thing kind of scares me. Like, what are they going to do with this fragrance? How modern is it going to smell? And is it going to be as good as what it is? Even though it's kind of a classic leaning fragrance, we shall see. So this is EAU NOIRE. Now the fragrance I don't have a bottle of is Cologne Blanche. Once again launched in 2004, and it was created by Francis Kurkdjian. So EAU NOIRE and Cologne Blanche were both created by Francis Kurkdjian. This particular fragrance, Cologne Blanche, Cologne obviously is a fresh fragrance experience. Blanche, it means white. Noir, this is black. And then I guess Argent is silver, the third fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. So Blanche, it's white, clean, definitely kind of a clean experience, but according to my research, the notes features almonds, so it's kind of got this nuttiness contrasted with the citruses, and not only the flowers of the citruses, and of course the fruits as well. This does sound like, I don't remember exactly what it smells like. It's been a while. It was very, very early on in my journey that I got to sample a sample of this, and it kind of seems like it's kind of perhaps like L'Homme Ideal Cologne, because that is also kind of almondy with the citruses for its kind of freshness. So this one sounds interesting, and according to my research also with this one, we don't know what's going to happen with this particular fragrance, so we shall see. Most likely these all three are going to come in Eau de Parfum concentration and not in Eau de Cologne or Cologne concentration. And the other thing is, there's currently a cologne in the Dior Privé collection called Cologne Royale, which is a nice, pleasant, fresh, citrusy, you know, Eau de Cologne style fragrance, but it doesn't feature the almonds like Cologne Blanche did, so we shall see. But I'm curious what's going to happen with this one. I wonder if it's going to smell like L'Homme Ideal Cologne. I guess faintly I do recall kind of having similarities, but Cologne, L'Homme Ideal Cologne has a kind of a L'Homme Ideal DNA, whereas Cologne Blanche did not have that DNA, obviously, but they could remind us of one another. Let me know if you're excited about Cologne Blanche and a revisit or redo of it coming back soon. We shall see. Perhaps it's not going to get redone. Perhaps they're going to launch something very similar to the original, so we shall see how that is as well. So moving on to Bois d'Argent, so the third fragrance that he is redoing. So I guess initially it was created by Annick Menardo when they launched it in 2004 in the Cologne. There was 4 of them, and I believe the 4th one is Ombre Nuit. I think that's the 4th fragrance in the 4 fragrances. But this was created by Annick Menardo in 2004. This to me has always been a great easy to wear iris fragrance with woods and resins kind of an experience, and I believe after it was done by Annick Menardo, it was redone or updated by Francois Demachet in this collection here, in this Privé collection, because it was a different collection in 2004. But I've always enjoyed the honeyed experience here and the powdery, because it's loads of iris with woods. There's myrrh, there's honey, of course, as I mentioned, there's cypress, vanilla, juniper berries, amber, resins, musk, and leather. So this apparently is going to be taken back to what it used to smell like in 2004. Hopefully they have a bottle hanging around in good condition to kind of remind them of what it smells like. We'll see. But I never I never got to smell it in its original form. I always smelled whatever was the latest offering at the Dior boutiques, or if anybody had given me samples of it. So I'm curious to smell what that original smell smelled like, because I've heard from many of you guys saying it used to be much better, even though it was a cologne concentration. But this, I've always felt like it was a thin fragrance and an easier to wear fragrance, even though it had all these like woods and resins and, you know, iris kind of a quality to it. It's pretty popular with people, but also for me it's a little minimalistic. It wears a little thin, so we'll see how it's going to change. But are you a fan of this one? Do you enjoy it? I like this one because even though it's myrrh, I feel like there's definitely like a benzoin quality, or maybe it's just the notes together kind of come off like that. It also lightly hints at something like Bois d'Harmonie from the House of Guerlain, a little bit, whereas that is a little sweeter. This is not as sweet, but it definitely has a powderiness, and that's why I kind of think that there might be some benzoin in here. But the myrrh has a kind of a sweetness to it. It's not as sweet as benzoin, and that's why I feel like since Bois d'Harmonie is benzoin and it's powdery once again, definitely that one is sweeter than this one. But both of them are great. This to me wears a little minimalistic, and it's the kind of fragrance I feel like it's clean, powdery, and not necessarily an afterthought, but when you don't have to put too much thought in your, you know, which fragrance you're going to wear, this is the kind of fragrance you would wear, I think. And also the fact that it's not necessarily very thick. It could come off kind of thick. It is honeyed, but I think the current formulation, to me, it's not as thick. It could be kind of an all year round fragrance. But if it's overly sweet, which this is not, it could get cloying. So I think this would make an okay fragrance to wear all year round. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this one. As I said, they are going to take it back to the original form, which is what I've been reading online. And I'm excited. I'm actually excited for these to come out, and for Francis Kurkdjian to move on to create some new stuff for us. To rehash these older fragrances is not that exciting, even though I am excited for these. So we shall see what happens with it. The other thing is, these 3 fragrances, according to the notes, will be launched in a trio of a kit in a smaller bottles in July. This is what I read online. Also, they'll be fully launched in September. Now, I'll be in Europe till towards the end of June. I don't know if I'll be able to access the 3 launching together. I'm hoping they'd be put out earlier. We'll see. That's never usually the case. But I guess if I don't have access to those, I'll have to wait until September to find out about these. And then lastly, as I said, this green color has been updated in the photos I saw online. So are they going to keep it green, or are they going to keep it this color? We shall see. But let me know if you're excited for these 3 fragrances, and what do you think? Have you worn them? Did you wear Cologne Blanche? Because that's the one I'm really, really looking forward to. I know the other 2, although since I said this Dior EAU NOIRE will get modernized, we'll see what happens with it. And of course, Bois d'Argent is going back to what it used to smell like. But let me know if you're a fan of these fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of Francis Kurkdjian. What is your favorite fragrance from him? What is your favorite fragrance created by him? Not only for his brand Maison Francis Kurkdjian, of course, with all other brands, and of course now he's going to make fragrances for us over at Dior, and let's see what he does after these 3 are launched. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.